Ladies and gentlemen, hey, what happened? I had everything set up and now I've got... There's Marcy's cam. Ross, your cam messed up, but it's probably my fault, so let me fix it real fast.
I can change things if I need to.
No. I'm pretty sure it's my fault because it happens a lot and I didn't bother to check it this time. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dinner and a Game. While I mad scramble to get everything fixed, we thank you so much for coming in and joining us tonight. And I am having a lot of issues with this. Tonight is marking possibly, and Ross says probably, the last session of our live play of the amazing game Fall of Winter, created by Heart of the Unicorn Studio. Sorry, Magic. Oh my God. Sorry, trying to do two things at once is not good for me.
We were talking too much about seasons. It threw everything off.
It really messed up.
And then there's the City of Winter.
The City of Winter, Fall of Magic. It's not related, but it's related. It's this weird thing. Let's see if that'll work. Ross, we're having trouble with your cam. I got it to work. Yay! I'm a brilliant genius. Or at least I can, make things work on occasion. So anyway, yes, tonight is possibly our last play of Fall of Magic, a game that was created by Heart of the Unicorn Studios and designed by this gentleman right here, Ross Kalman, who has been...
Hello, that's me.
And he has been kind enough to play through with us, giving everyone a completely new aspect on the game itself. And it's been an amazing time. This has been probably one of my favorite RPGs that I've ever watched being played, and it's no, seriously, and I spend a lot of time watching games. It's kind of like what I do, but this is, the stories you guys have been able to put together have been really incredible, and I really wanted to thank, number one, Ross, for having made this incredible game, and number two, everyone with the lab for being so incredible and committing to this story so much. It makes a huge difference on who you have in your parties, folks. It does. And that is never been more apparent by watching what you guys have done. And I cannot even begin to tell you how happy this has made me. And if you want to find more stuff by Heart of the Unicorn Studios, I put their link up in chat. You can go check them out there. Please go check out their stuff. It's amazing, and they're an amazing company as well. They provide so much help in the gaming community and so much help in general that it's just outstanding, and I cannot recommend them enough.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, support small businesses.
Absolutely. Do not forget to support small businesses. It's the reason gaming exists.
It's true.
So, tonight we are playing, like I said, probably the last play through of Fall of Magic, and we are doing it with the incredible cast of The Lab. And so, the people on The Lab are, we have Mutiny, who is on Twitter, and she has her stuff there. How have you been, Mutiny?
I've been wonderful.
Good. Excellent.
I've discovered the wonder of not customer service, and life is great.
And you cannot get much better than when you discover that life after customer service. It's that wonderful time where you're going, people aren't going to do what to me? They're not going to be insanely rude for no other reason than I have to stand here and take it?
They can't even look at me.
It's a great time. Enjoy it. And it only gets better from here. All right. And Rob, how have you been, sir?
I have been very good. Life's been treating me well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And Rob is going to start cosplaying. In fact, if you go to our Discord, you can see Rob's first piece that he's created for his new Jedi cosplay, and he is going to start launching that up on his TikTok. So, and the link to Rob's TikTok is up there, so go give him a follow if you'd like, and check out the amazing things he's going to be creating. Speaking of creating an amazing, Sharon, Chaz, how are you doing?
Oh, so sweet. I am doing really well. In the background, you can see I got big old balloons that say 23, but on my screen says something a bit different. And I celebrated my 23rd birthday yesterday, so...
So cool.
Congratulations. And I saw you were on Twitch the other day, and I was like, oh my God. I jumped on my computer, and I clicked it, and you were gone.
Oh, no.
I must have come on right on the tail end of your stream, and I was like, oh, man. So I missed that. But I saw you were on, and I was really happy to see you were on. And finally, the person who got this whole thing started, Marcy. I miss you so much. How have you been?
I promise I'll come back to the world eventually.
It's okay. Take all the time you need. Remember, one rule for dinner and a game: real world comes first.
A really good rule. It's a very good rule.
That's why we didn't have a game last night. We ended up playing Neverwinter with a bunch of our friends on the stream because we had one person who was on vacation from that stream, and we had another person who is a voice actor and got a commercial gig that night and could not turn it down. So we were like, oh, there goes half of our show. Fall back and punt.
Yeah.
But anyway,
what you got to do in those situations for sure.
Absolutely. So everyone is here. Everyone is ready to play. So I think I'm going to get myself out of the way. But before I go, if you guys want to follow Dinner and a Game, and for any of the content we create, which includes shows like The Lab and our other True RPG shows, and this is an important announcement, so I'm going to get it out of the way real quick. Next Friday, which is the Labs is going to be the Labs Friday off, we have got an interview that I think is really important for the community. Ernest Gygax has agreed to come on the show. And he is going to be, of course, we're going to let him tell us about TSR. But one of the things I already told him we're going to be covering is the comments he has made and the comments that have been put out on TSR's Twitter that, of course, have been causing so much controversy in the industry right now, seeing that they are, and we'll be talking about the nature of how they got the rights to the TSR name back. I told him what the subjects of the conversation are going to be, and he has agreed to come on. So hopefully there can be some explanation, but it's not going to be an easy conversation, but I think it's one that the entire community wants to hear. So that'll be next week, starting at about 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm going to start putting the links up on social media everywhere, and we will see what happens. Honestly, I'm not looking forward to it.
It sounds like it's going to be uncomfortable, but necessary.
Absolutely. But anyway, that's enough for me. I'm bringing the mood down, and this is about Fall of Magic and you guys, so I'm going to get the hell out of here. Have a great show, guys. We love you very much.
Thank you, Ray.
I'm all for bad moods.
Thank you.
I'm super into that.
Oh no. All right, where were we?
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's so good to see your faces.
Yeah, you too.
Good to see you too.
Love seeing all your faces. Wonderful faces.
Good to have moments of human interaction.
Yeah.
It's funny, me and Sharon, we met up with a couple of friends, and it was so funny to interact with people in a real setting, and it was just like, hey, social anxiety, how do you talk to people again?
Yeah, I'm usually okay with speaking with people, but for some reason, because we had been away from others for so long, something was just different, and I was like, I've never felt this before. Why do I feel nervous?
So update me, because you're all in Toronto. What's the vaccination situation there now?
I have my first vaccine, but I need my second.
I'm getting my second in next week, sometime next week.
Oh, nice.
I got my first vaccine, and I got a schedule to do the second because we can
Awesome.
up the time.
So you're all on the vax train now. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yes.
How's that feel?
I feel fine. It's great to be vaccinated.
Physically, or?
Well, for me, I had this experience after I had my first shot where, I don't know, especially after I had my second shot, I just had this experience of it just really hit me how I trained myself to be scared of everybody, as a way of keeping myself safe. And
I don't think that's going to be going away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might stick around.
Yeah, definitely for a long while.
I expect us to still be in masks, and that's just going to be a regular thing to see around nowadays. And just taking the precautions to sanitize regularly in stores, that is what I envision in the future.
Yeah, those are just
so many
good
masks.
precautions.
Yeah.
That's really different in Seattle. People are really starting to just act like everything is normal again, which, and I am too. All my friends are just hanging out. But it's been It took about a month, I think, from most of, for now it's like almost everybody that I know has like is like fully vaccinated.
Yeah, I definitely think there will be a bit of a shift when everybody's fully vaccinated, but yeah, I think there will be a long while breaking down those walls.
Right, totally.
It's definitely gonna be like, I don't have my mask. Is this okay?
Yeah,
It's okay,
totally.
but I don't feel okay.
Mhm.
I feel like it's
Sure.
going to take me years to let go of that, like, you know that feeling that you forgot something when you left the house.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
having that happen and being like, oh, did I bring my mask? It's gonna
Right,
be
totally.
years.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel that.
Even happening in my dreams. It was funny because early when the quarantine started happening, I was still kind of in school and they were talking about like, oh, I had my first dream where I forgot my mask, and I was like, huh, that's kind of funny. Like, wonder when that's
Yeah.
gonna happen to me. And now it's just like a regular thing where
Right,
I'll have a
totally.
nightmare and it'll be like,
Weird,
Yeah,
like,
I had that a
mask stress
lot
dreams.
last year.
Mhm.
You're like on the bus and it's really crowded, and then all of a sudden you realize nobody's wearing their mask and everybody's too close. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've had those
totally.
nightmares.
Totally, for sure. Well, cool. So, yeah, should we do like a little quick check-in and then get back into this game?
Absolutely.
All right. What are people's checks? My check is it's really hot in Washington right now. We're about to have like the hottest three of the hottest days like in the last like 100 years in like the state of Washington. That on record, and it's pretty wild. It's going to be like 107, which is like 41 Celsius on Sunday, and most people in Washington don't have air conditioning, so that's like I do, fortunately, at my house and at Deer Corn, but that's pretty wild. And the other thing, my partner just got this really like life-changing job offer. She's going to got this really good like training management position for the state of Washington, and so she's going to be starting that in a couple weeks, and it's just like a really like healing kind of experience for her, because she's like had a lot of experiences of just trying really hard to get like kind of like a career level sort of job, and finally got this one. So she's just
yay!
That's
really
awesome.
happy for
Yeah,
her. Yeah,
send her congratulations.
I will do that. Yeah. What's my check-in?
My check-in is that like a week and a half ago, I finally bought the game Ark Survival Evolved, and it's just ADHD hyperfixation, like re-reclusing from society have just connected. I spent 24 hours straight playing Ark earlier this week. I've been playing any day that I'm not with my kid. I pretty much wake up and play most of the day. This happens when I find something new that I really like. It's going to last for another week maybe before it calms down. But I feel like it's everything I've been waiting for in a game, just a crafting survival game. Plus there's dinosaurs that you can tame and breed, and it's really cool and fun. And yeah, there was definitely a day when I woke up at like 10:30 in the morning, started playing right away, wound up pulling an all-nighter that night, and didn't stop playing until 10:30 the next day.
Wow.
Ark is
Jesus
dangerous. It's my most played game. I have like 1,000 some odd hours in it, and it's like it's dangerous. You get into it, and it's just like I love every moment of this.
You are not playing on a PlayStation, I guess.
I do not own a PlayStation. I would play on PC, but I don't know if there's cross-platform. Might be.
If there is, that would be great.
I will check it out.
I don't play any of the online servers because I just don't want to deal with all that. So I'm just thankfully it's couch co-op, so Emily does play for a few hours a day with me. But other than when she's on, I am just like the solo human on this island with all the dinosaurs, and it gets pretty lonely sometimes.
I would
With all those
definitely love to check that out. Yeah, I will. I'll have a look. My check-in is I need to stay away from Fabricland. That place is taking all my money. I'm giving it to them. I go in there. Actually, that fur blanket Mutiny pointed out at the start of chat. Yeah, it was on sale. It was 50% off, and how could I not buy it?
It's very you.
Thank you. It's dangerous. need to focus more on my finances and less on the fact that I want to create a million different costumes.
Dude.
I love that you can see your personality in your room though, like very distinctly.
Brown.
Everything's
Personality
brown.
Being a forest dweller.
Tones.
Yeah, all I need is Mutiny pointed out like a window with rain or a fireplace would be fantastic.
A decal on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would live for that. I've wanted to light torches in my room, but I'm told that that's not up to safety standards and houses.
Yes.
You can get those ones that are like they look like torches, but they have like paper that blows.
Oh,
that
some
was
cray
actually-
paper,
Yeah.
Okay.
some antlers.
Yeah.
Or
Actually, I
you
do
know-
have antlers on the wall here.
Oh, you got
We're
it.
gonna turn your bedroom into
Of course, you
a
have
forest
fucking
fire.
antlers.
I actually have an elk head somewhere in this house, but
It's like a hunter's
I don't have
lodge.
it up yet. That's my aesthetic. But yeah, that's my check-in.
My check-in is I have balloons. Say my birthday yesterday. I turned 23 yesterday, and I'm having I have a lot of celebrations this month because everything's just falling into place. Like I graduated from my undergrad, and my ceremony is gonna be on the Tuesday coming up, which will be online, which I'm a little bit bummed about because I have been envisioning walking across the stage for the last 5 years or so. Still got 1 more year technically, so hopefully by the end of next year I'll be realizing those dreams of getting my diploma on stage and seeing my family out in the crowd, because that makes me feel like I really accomplished something. It's definitely weird when you get it in the mail and you're like, yay, I did the thing.
Mhm.
So
Pizza Queen in chat also says happy birthday, just so you know.
thank you.
Oh, thank you, Pizza
Pizza,
Queen.
pizza queen.
Pizza Queen.
I know who that is.
Oh.
Pizza Queen. But
We
yeah,
all know
that
who
is that is
That's a good check-in.
a mutiny.
Ah.
Checking.
I don't really know what to say. I'm having a good time. Life's good. That's
all
my
you
check.
That's the calmness of having money.
Well, I wasn't gonna say it. But for real it is.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
All right,
Well,
so
cool. So where we left things, I remember the Fortress of Karst had become activated and charged up the mountainside, breaking through the globe that was containing us. And in the aftermath of the explosion, we were left in this like pure field of whiteness, standing before the great gates of Umbra. I think that was where Marcy left us. So yeah, if I think just anybody can go next, and I'll keep track of order. I've got, let's see, I guess I can do by how we are sitting in Zoom. So if we go clockwise, yeah, so just anyone can go next, and then we'll just go clockwise after that, if that works for everybody.
All right.
Oh, it looks like I've got a Shaz, Mutiny, Rob Ross. Is that an okay order?
I'm cool with that.
oh no, I don't know what to start off with though.
It just yeah, it's true.
That's did we say something last time about like an entirely white room?
Yeah, that was the kind of where we were sort of in this entirely white space before the gates of Umbra, and that was kind of
So-
where.
When I set that up, what I had in mind, but that's not what we have to do, was that everyone was going to have like a little solo scene with the youths from the Gate of Umbra.
Yeah.
And I don't really know. It doesn't have to be that way, and also what that looks like can be anything. That all I had in mind was this idea of like everyone having to pass through their own version of the gate.
Okay.
I love that.
I have a scene in mind, but whether everything's in line right now, that's out of question. So, I need to move my token, which is the Raven, which I can't find. Oh, here it is. I'm gonna move her up here to the Starry Coast, what fades. Harp is standing in this entirely white space, and in front of her is the Gate of Umbra that's mounting over her. And I imagine how exactly it's drawn. So when we look at the illustration of the Gate of Umbra, there's the gold-plated sides that line the door, and perhaps in between the etched design, it glows with light, various colors. I see Harp approaching this door with squinted eyes, kind of confused, because last thing that happened, like, she doesn't know where she is. And she looks behind her, and it's not a sort of panic that you would get from being lost, but she kind of goes with what's happening as if it's natural and doesn't question it. And what she sees is that she looks at the door and peeks through by opening it, just moving her head through the doorway, and she sees a whole field, like a meadow, and little flowers colorful flowers kind of spot this field, and the sky is a bright sky blue, no clouds, and it's the absolute perfect way she would like to start a day. And the air is so fresh, and it penetrates her nostrils, and it draws her in, and she walks through the gates. And she hears laughter as she walks through. And it's laughter that she's heard for decades, and she recognizes and looks behind her, and the gate is gone. But instead of the gate, it's a crowd of children. Her children.
Oh, all the children that she's delivered over the years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just so sweet.
And she has the widest smile, ear to ear, and it makes her tear up a little that she finally gets to see them again. But it feels
just, like imagining a crowd of like 100 children of all kind of like different ages and stuff. Maybe like some of them are old now even, and like
I envision some of the kids, what they're doing is playing around, kicking a ball around, and some are kind of like play fighting, and something that she would often scold the children for and kind of be playful about. And as she's watching her kids, she sees Justice in the crowd, mingled among the children, and she is play fighting with a stick, pretending it's a sword.
Oh, Justice. What is it what in Justice's appearance is the thing that we like really recognize from her as an adult that you can still really see as a child? Maybe Marcy knows the answer to this.
Yeah.
I can't quite remember all the distinguishing features.
Yeah. What's a distinctive feature that Justice has?
A distinctive feature. I don't think it's a feature that makes it really recognizable that it's Justice. I think it's her tone and her confidence. This little girl swinging a stick around and playing war is speaking telling the kids that she's playing with how the game works. She is telling them the rules.
She's
they
the
are-
commander even at that age.
Yeah, they are listening because
Marshalling her forces.
Hone doesn't allow for interference, and maybe some people have tried before, and that's fine. She relishes the challenge. But I think that's what it is. It's the confidence and the assuredness, the self-assuredness.
I love that.
I love that. Yeah. It's definitely a remarkable feature that Harp has noticed and immediately picked up on. And it's unmistakable that girl running around with the stick is Justice. And what happens is she walks closer to this crowd of kids, and I envision kind of like a side view of Harp walking towards them, and her, because she's an old woman, she's got a bit of a hunch and her height is quite short. And she's walking slowly, and the closer she gets to the crowd, her back straightens up a little bit more and more. And her skin starts to glow, and the wrinkles of her face and her arms start to disappear the closer and closer she gets. Her dress flows with more of a sway, and the bags on her back of all the traveling is kind of, it's the weight of it is not as heavy. It's almost as if it disappears. You can envision it disappearing from her back possibly, but it's still with her. And she walks to the kids, and all of them crowd around her with the biggest smiles and laughter, tugging at her skirt and trying to get her attention of the latest rock or the frog that they've captured from the creek. And little baby Harvey is there snorting and trying to get
super
his
into
snout in there.
Little baby Harvey.
And she's so enthralled in this experience that she's in such a blissful happiness. And then the laughter starts to fade a little bit, and it becomes a bit more distant. It almost becomes kind of like something you would hear in your head. And the children in their physical forms go from that solid, opaque entity to now they're slowly kind of floating above her, and like almost like a sparkling and dusting away. But it's not something sad that it's not something that makes her sad, but it's more of, she feels like the weight of letting some of the kids down and not being able to protect all of them, the weight of that is lifting off her shoulders. And she can hear some of the kids say, "It's okay, we'll be fine." And that gives her such peace that she just drops to her knees and kind of looks above her as they're all floating through the sky, saying their goodbyes, their cheerful goodbyes. And she lays on her back just with her hands behind her head and closes her eyes and feels the sun. That's
a really
my
good scene. Yo.
That was beautiful.
That's really beautiful. My friend Jason Morningstar was just like posting online about like, if you were like gonna try and make a demonstration to like show somebody what you love about story games in like 40 minutes, like what would you do? And I just kind of like jokingly said, oh, it'd be like 5 minutes of character creation and then like, you know, a 35-minute long scene. Like I'm just like I'm really here for like super long scenes that just like have a lot of space in them. I was like watching Spirited Away yesterday, and that was something I was like, oh, I just really appreciate how much space is in this movie. I feel like a lot of times in media, it's just like conflict.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're really
cool.
jumping from like beat to beat.
Right, totally. Yeah, super cool. Yeah, Mutiny, would you like to go next? I mean, I know you don't want to go next. Would you be willing to go next?
Oh, I had to follow that though. How do I follow that?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. That's what I'm here for.
Okay. Dust Caravan. I don't know how to go with like the title of the prompt.
If it were me, I would just like start by just kind of imagining what that looks like and just like describe any part of it, even like a little part of it, and then start to think about like what my character might be doing in this place that I'm thinking of.
We'll start with, what does your gate look like, or is the room different for you? Maybe it's not a white room for you. You could start describing the setting and see if that starts to give you pieces for the prompt.
I missed what Ross said. My Skype cut out.
Oh, it's all good. Do you want me to say it again?
Yeah.
It's just
Please
those
do
story
it.
game bullshit, you know. I was just gonna say, you know, sometimes if I don't know what to say, I'll just start by, you know, just describing the place, like some little tiny detail of it, or whatever kind of comes to mind when I see the words Dusk Hills Caravan, like talk about the hills or the dusk or the caravan or some combo of the two, and then think about my character and what my character looks like in that scene, and then usually my brain starts to work by then.
Yeah.
Usually.
Brain work.
Or you can make someone else do it for you. You can just be like,
No.
so, Marcy.
I just start saying things until it makes sense.
Yeah.
So in the White Room, Caspian sees the door. I think it's the same door. And he sees Harp go through it and then slowly, cautiously walks up to it as well. And when he peeks through, Harp is gone. But what he sees is, rolling hills, just trees and grass and sky for miles. And in the distance, like the sun is just coming down the horizon and the sky is like a deep red. And there's a path going through the trees. So Caspian walks through the trees, and he has never been here before. He doesn't recognize it, but it feels familiar. And as he walks, he sees foxes, regular foxes, just running through. And they make their little foxy noises, and some of them kind of come close. Something like that. Some of them kind of come close cautiously and sniff him and then run away again. And I think slowly as he walks, he comes to terms with the wisdom from, what was it? The pond, the pool crone.
Yeah.
And realizing that if this is to be true, that he is going to be the last one to continue on when all the other animals have returned to the forest, then he needs to remember their stories. And so he sits down and starts writing, starting from the tales that his mother used to tell him.
Cool.
That's amazing.
Oh man, I'm super excited for the Tales of Caspian DLC.
DLC.
Yes.
So cool.
Man.
Just got an
Rob.
idea for our City of Winter arc.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
Rob?
right, it's a B. Okay. So, oh jeez, what the heck? There we go. Up we go. Apparently, maybe my Roll20 is glitching out. All right, that's about as close as I can get to Monument because
I'll get you over there.
Okay.
I gotcha. I gotcha, Rob.
So, a tale from my childhood. As jeez, what's my name? Elamira. Sorry, took me a second. As Elamira approaches the gates of Umbra, they look slightly different. The gates are wrought almost completely of stone, and there are facial features and expressions painted all over it. Some carved deeply and some just painted on the surface, and the eyes follow Elamira as she steps towards it, and some of the mouths quirk into smiles and some of the mouths quirk into grimaces, and some look sad, and it generally seems like the facial features are watching her as they contort to see her approach the gate. And as that happens, and the gates crack slightly, the light envelops her, and she steps out into the world and feels very similar. She's in an open field, and as she steps out, dust and bits of rock crumble around her, and before her she sees a middle-aged woman, or it appears to be a middle-aged woman, and she has an expression of self-satisfaction on her face as Elamira approaches, and looking around, kind of as the camera pans, you can see that Elamira has stepped from an old standing stone, whether or not it was there naturally or erected long ago. She steps from it, and the dust and everything is still falling from her. And she looks to the woman standing in front of her, and she just smiles and gestures for her to follow. And then it is sort of like a bit of a time jump, and she sees River walking ahead of her in a city street. But she feels really, or how babies never know where to step, and they always they fumble as they make their way through the world. And Elamira is walking through the world as a grown woman made of stone, but with the mind of a child. And she stumbles through the marketplace, always looking to Elamira, or always looking to River to guide her. And she reaches out every now and then, but also knows that as she sees children rush past, that she's very different. And she reaches out to River, but then stops herself and tries to walk a little bit more confidently and a little bit more in balance. And she smiles at River, thinking that she's the most competent and amazingly graceful piece of stone ever carved from a rock. And she sees the Magus, who is still young at this point, gathering whatever she needs for that day's alchemical potion or incantation, And she just makes her way through the world, never really experiencing her innocence and her childish existence, but never really minding because she always had somebody there with her to guide her through these confusing experiences. And she asked a lot of questions back then. She would sit in front of River and say, "What's that? What's that?" And she would point at all the interesting things in the world that she thought were so fascinating.
Oh, that is a boat. That is a goose.
And it was so interesting that, or so amazing, that River never got upset with her inane questions. They were unending. And Elamira always knew that there was some more wisdom to be had from the old golem, some wisdom to be found. And as she continues to step through the light, she just keeps growing. And that's
love it.
It's a beautiful scene.
thank you.
We see River standing in front of the gates to Umbra, and for her, they are these white curtains that are just kind of hanging very still in the windless room, and the room grows darker and darker and darker until it's black, and we can see stars through the walls, and the curtains start to wave a little bit. And River reaches forward with her hand and parts the curtains and walks through. And she sees, and she's standing in a line, this massive line of this caravan of these like wagons that are going down a trail, going down the road into this valley. And in the nighttime, and in the midst of this valley is this enormous fire, this huge bonfire that's just leaping up into the air, throwing sparks. And as we get closer to the bonfire, we can see how each cart, we're traveling alongside this caravan, and in the cart there's all these people that are fleeing their homelands and making their way to Umbra, and these carts are like loaded with all of their earthly possessions, and there's these pilgrims that are all traveling in their carts laden with like furniture and trunks of clothes and just like different precious things. And as each cart gets to where this fire is burning, we see the people get off of the cart and unload all their earthly possessions and cast them into the fire, trunks, furniture, until eventually it's just the carts, and the carts themselves are broken down and tipped over with the help of many hands into the fire. And as the last of their possessions catch fire, the people begin to sing and chant and raise their hands up into the air until they drift off into the darkness like ghosts holding hands. And River gets up to the fire and is standing there with it, and people are kind of looking at her expectantly, and they're like, go on, and she just looks down at her stone hands and her like carved clothes and her stone body, and she says, but I have nothing to burn. And they kind of nod, and the fire tender, who is this really like tall woman with who's wearing like this gleaming black armor, and has a big poker, kind of like a fire poker that she uses from time to time just to keep the fire tidy. Just kind of gruffly orders her, well, go on then, go on, there's more behind you, you're holding up the line. And River kind of like looks back sees the faces of all the people behind her with their carts, and they're laden with their possessions, just waiting for their turn to cast their things into the fire. And then she turns and walks off, kind of feeling the warmth of the fire on her back as she heads down the road into the darkness, kind of following the dark forms of the people now possessionless that are walking the road in front of her. Is my scene.
Aw. That was really good. I love that.
Thanks.
Yeah, I love the visual detail that you put in your scenes.
Yeah, very much like a director coordinating a scene, like, this is how you see this. I really like that.
Cool. I like this format. This is so just like everybody walking through the gate and having this different experience. It's really creative, like interpretation of this.
I thought it would be a fun thing to do.
It's a good move. Good move, Marcy.
Yep.
Well played. Are you gonna take the last one? Kind of seems like you have to,
Yeah,
but you don't.
I'm gonna go with Celebration Fires.
All right.
Also.
Hell yeah.
The Justice, before she sees the room, she feels her hand empty. It is no longer clasped around the stone hand of Elamira. She feels that first and then realizes that there is nothing in this room. Nothing at all. It's just an open white space. And she immediately starts to feel nervous and unsure. She is starting to be very distrustful of magic after all these years of working beside it. She tries to take a step. This is a white room, I say, but I very much imagine like no floors, no walls, just white everywhere, standing on nothing. And whatever it is that she is not standing on still clanks as her boots step around, and she's casting about looking for anything, looking for a familiar face of the caravan that she's traveled with, looking for something to get a tactical appraisal of the situation. And as she sees nothing that she can grasp on, she starts to feel a little bit panicky, and then she hears people's voices, and she crouches and is looking around for the voices, and they start to get louder, and then finally she can hear it's people talking and laughing behind her, and she turns around, and in the white there is a simple wooden door with some wide cracks in it, and light, flickering firelight is showing through the cracks. And so she walks up with this sense of panic growing, but as soon as she touches the handle, it goes away, and she opens the door, and the hinges creak loudly. And she steps into it's like a large hut, a yurt, sort of, with a burning fire in the middle. And in that room, there's dried herbs hanging from the ceiling, and over the fire, kind of just to the side of it. What is the name of the fox mother again?
Oh, Peppercorn.
Peppercorn.
You'll have to consult the wiki.
The first thing she sees is Peppercorn standing over a cauldron, stirring the night's stew. And all around her feet are darting small foxes, and she's, swinging at them a little bit with the ladle, but not trying to hit them. And a few older foxes are trying to corral them and get them to stop harassing her. And I want to know how we would know Caspian if we saw Caspian.
Oh, like we Caspian?
Little baby Caspian?
No, sorry. Okay, that's what I was still trying to process what I heard.
That's what I meant by we Caspian.
No, Caspian.
Adult Caspian.
In the future,
Oh, future Caspian.
Yeah.
Got it.
out of the foxes that you described, he's the only red fox.
Well, there's a lot of foxes. That's just that's the one we recognize.
True.
Let's say that there are some red foxes too. I want to know how Caspian stands out.
He's got like a green cloak and his bow on his back.
Maybe some sick
Yeah.
tats.
Maybe.
Some fox tats.
I do like the idea of fox tats.
I think if
Yeah,
I was a
me
fox
too.
and I wanted tats, I'd probably do that kind of like burn scarring sort of thing, and like
Yeah.
make little places where the hair wouldn't grow.
Yeah.
That'd
I
be
like
so
that
cool.
with like a white hot
I
knife.
think like what would he have in the future?
Some fox
Um,
knuckle tats. Tough enough. No,
Come on,
probably
he's gotta
some-
have green hair.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to remember how I described his pouch. I think it was like it had little stars embroidered on it.
Mm.
So I'm thinking like those little stars, like down the side of one arm.
Oh, that's good. That's spicy.
And Caspian is one of the older foxes, corralling the younger ones and trying to keep them away from Peppercorn. And Justice is staring at that, like, confused and disbelieving, as the room comes more into focus, as her eyes adjust. And she hears a clink and laughter beside her to the side of the room, and she looks, and Harp is seated at a table seated across from Maurice, the privy digger. They've just used flagons and are like chugging them while staring each other in the eyes, like each chugging to the side and staring at each other. It goes quick. But Harp finishes first and slams her mug down so hard that it breaks.
Oh, you cheated!
In response to Maurice saying, "Well, how does Harp respond to that?"
He just goes, yeah! There are both arms in the air, like, yeah!
And then beside Harp, Moonstone is jumping up into the air and trying to get the birds, while Harley, like, snouts Moonstone out of the way and keeps, like, intercepting Moonstone. And then a whispered conversation to Justice's other side, and I also can't remember the name of the temple guide.
Oh,
Philomena.
Philomena.
Wow, this is just like a quiz.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
really.
like a BuzzFeed quiz.
I got the wiki.
Who are you most like?
BuzzFeed has the answers. It's a whisper. Justice can hear a whisper conversation to other side and looks, and Philomena is sitting on a stump that's been pulled out of the ground and just turned into a stool, and is sitting there and like having a hushed conversation with River. They're leaning in close to each other and they're talking to each other quietly while Philomena paints on River's sigils. And Greyleaf is curled up in River's lap, and River is petting Greyleaf while this is happening. And then done.
You write this scene down.
No, I just tried to write down everyone's names because I'm a very disorganized and forgetful person. I wanted to make sure that I hit the people that I wanted to. Because I already forgot to mention that Sootmouth and Caspian are working together to corral the children. It's the two of them. that are jumping around and kind of like using their tails to like knock the kids over and stuff. And yeah, at the opposite end of the room, Elamira is sitting there. And as soon as Justice sees her, Elamira scoots to the side, and Justice goes and sits beside her. And that's my scene.
So sweet. It reminds me of like the end of Labyrinth where you like see all the characters again.
I loved how you tied in all the characters and at the end it's like a reunion. It's like, oh my gosh, the Prairie Digger!
I don't even like IPA.
It's the only reason you won.
It's the only reason you won. We've been a logger now.
Oh, hush you.
It's your turn, Shaz.
Oh. Where do we go from here?
You can take us out of here by putting us on that torch if you want, or you could do another scene at the gates of
Oh,
Umbra.
the torch.
Yeah.
What does the torch mean?
Just that's the other side of the deep way. So we'll then go back to the front of the map. All right. So, so it's the very last one. I think. Can everybody see? Is everybody there?
I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we want to put our tokens up by the nameless city up at the top right. And if your token's not on the board, it should be. But if it's not, you can copy it from the previous one and paste it on there. It looks like. Are we missing a token?
We might be.
Oh, I see. There they are. They're hiding.
Is the Magus the sword?
There's all the tokens.
I think the Magus is the sword.
There's every token. Okay.
How? I'm not on the right side of the map.
Oh, okay.
How do I get to the right side of the map?
So if you click that top right page toolbar,
Yeah.
and then click all the way, click the rightmost thumbnail.
Should be scroll.
Yeah, it's not. I put this is the revised. This is the revised version, so it's not the normal one. It says
Okay.
copy. The name of it is copy on Roll20.
All right.
Is everyone there now?
No, I have no idea what you
It's all good.
Where's-
So
go where, what, do
yeah,
what?
so at the top of Roll20
Oh,
on the
page
top right,
bar.
yeah, you'll see
I
like a
see
little so click that, and then you want to click. It'll drop down, and then you want to click the very last one, which is titled copy.
Copy.
And then you'll-
okay,
and then
we're
you'll be
on
with us.
copy. I
Yeah, and
am
then-
here. I am with you.
Great. Then you can zoom in and zoom into that top right corner. That's where we are.
Nameless city.
Nameless City. Yeah. And then Shaz. So we'll just kind of like hang out
Oh
over
boy.
here by the torch, and Shaz has to do Nameless City costume magic.
I'm the Magus now. Oh no.
Y'all to make it now.
You know what this means? I'm making y'all do the work.
Oh, I
So-
see.
Cost of magic. I think the group has how do I, because I'm not sure if I want to get them out of the little crystal ball through the door and how that would work.
You don't have to
And-
even describe it. I think it's fine if like it's just one of those like 70s fantasy movies.
It just happens.
It's just
Yeah.
like we're just not going to
Like
Okay.
Labyrinth.
like Labyrinth, exactly.
Okay. I think we'll skip ahead in time where until we figure out how exactly we got out of this crystal ball that this
Power of
endures.
friendship.
Yeah, in my
Yes!
mind, we actually just kind of like burst through it with the castle, and then we were just at Umbra.
Just here.
Yeah,
And
I like that. We just magicked our way out.
Hashtag magic.
hashtag power of friendship.
Hashtag magic of friendship.
We step foot after a long, treacherous adventure through this strange universe and notice this heaviness in all of our bodies taken from what we endured for the last however long. We don't know how long we've been in there. And stepping foot back into the quote-unquote real world has taken a lot of energy out of us. And the Magus is visibly suffering from the magic dying. And more we have to carry some of the tasks and just the daily activities for the Magus. Walking is a chore. And we're all heaving our weight to help the Magus through. And we step foot out from a deep wooded forest into a large, spacious rolling hill of land. And in the distance, we see buildings that were once formed, but now are crumbling away. Pillars from old buildings are still standing, yet the tops of some of the columns have shaved down, and we see the rock foliage beneath. And we see finally some evidence of an actual city crumbling away that was once held by magic. And perhaps this city was something that was once prosperous and lively, full of energy and bustle. But we step foot into what it looks like now. And that's the cost of magic.
I love that, Shaz, that idea of this like city being held together by magic, and sort of when you said that, it made me kind of imagine all this like this like impossible architecture, and just kind of seeing this remnants of these just like really impractical like things that could have never stood on their own.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Nice.
It's like the University OCAD. Never understood how they were standing on those colorful pillars.
What's that? OCAD?
What in the architecture?
Toronto architecture, man.
Yeah, we got some interesting things.
We're experimenting.
OCAD.
So we're in Toronto now.
The remnants of
Toronto. And half of the building is like this giant like rectangle in the air that is being held up by like it looks like giant toothpicks.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just these big colorful supports at like different angles.
Whoa, so
and
cool.
with like a giant rectangle that people have classes and stuff in, that nobody understands how it stands like that.
You really have to wonder where the entrance is. You're looking around and you're like, how do you get up? Is there an elevator in the toothpick
In the
holes?
tube.
Yeah,
Well, it's still like attached to another building, but there's also like, yeah,
It's
there's also other weird buildings in Toronto,
It's like
where it's like an old building of stone with like a spaceship eating it.
So cool.
So yeah.
So I just want to point out, I just noticed there's a little mess up in the file for the peril. It's just supposed to be the numbers 1 through 3, 4 through 5, and 6 for Body of the Ancient. So that's why it looks funny.
Oh.
But it's just a die roll one.
Just thought it was a fun font.
Yeah. Yeah, but Mutiny, it's your turn.
No. I want to do that one.
Mm-hmm.
Body of the ancient. That's not me. That's a bird. I am not a bird.
You're fox.
I'm a fox. They're very similar shapes.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I never noticed that before.
Okay. As we walk through the city, there is a large shape sticking out above some of the buildings, seemingly kind of in the center. And Caspian makes his way kind of in that direction, and it comes to like a square, an opening, and in the very center is this towering monument that looks like River and Elmira, but just absolutely massive. And
Whoa.
the face
What's
on
going
it,
on?
the face on it is painted like eyes closed, like it was sleeping.
Is it like fresh paint or is it like super weathered?
No, it's old.
Okay.
Um,
That's slightly less creepy. Or I'm not sure which.
Is it though?
I don't know where I'm going with that. I just
That's
thought
great.
that was really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
What are you doing right now, Caspian? Where are you?
Caspian is like looking around the whole square. He stops kind of at the entrance to it and is watching. How do the other you two react to this?
I don't know. Have we seen this before? I'm wondering, or is this like a surprise to us too? Do I have emotions? Oh wow. So it's like ancient. It's been here a long time. And it looks like us, and we look like the Magus.
Yep.
But since it's painted, we can tell they're supposed to be like they're in our image. They're not in the Magus's image.
Mm-hmm.
Like how old are it makes me wonder like how old River and Elmira are in comparison to each other. Also, like how can you tell if it's River or Elmira, you know? Like is there like something like really different about our appearances? But yeah, I'm just gonna go with the idea of that we all used to live in this city together. Like River is remembering. Yeah, I think we actually see this like flashback to that earlier scene where River and Elmira were kind of sitting by the river or whatever, and kind of pointing out the boat and the goose and like different things. And like this is like the market that River was walking through earlier, and that lake is just like blasted and dried out now. And you know, the stalls that we were walking by are just like covered in ash and rubble. And these statues were yeah, I think like erected in our honor for this like battle that we fought, where you know, we fought alongside the Magus, defending this place from invaders from over the sea, invaders from the land that we just came from. And yeah, and it's just like one of those things, it's where it's like, you know, so much has happened in our lives that we never really thought to like mention it to anyone before.
I like that.
These probably aren't the only ones.
Yeah, there's maybe some other ones in other places. I mean, the Magus has had a huge impact, has had a very long life, and we've had very long lives by mortal standards, certainly by Fox standards.
I think for Elmira, as she sees the statue, she's like fidgeting absentmindedly and like trying to make small talk with Justice, as she sees the statue, totally forgetting the saving of the city and more remembering the inane questions and the stupidity of childhood, and just
yeah.
like, yeah, like that wasn't a thing. Hey, Justice, how you doing? And just trying to like totally not pay attention to the massive statues erected in their honor.
Which
Yeah.
Justice is staring at open mouth.
We fought off the shadows, the shadowy behemoths many years ago, many lifetimes ago by your measure, and well, it was a city of artisans, and they crafted these in our honor.
They were always really excessive, that's for sure.
Looks a little more like you than me, I think.
I don't know. That one really reminds me of you in your early years.
I could see
But
that.
I guess I have a vivid memory.
A lot of good it did for them. A lot
Yeah.
of good we did for them. Just kind of looking around at the ruin.
It's all lost now.
Is anything ever really lost? Caspian says, quietly from the side.
Elamira smiles brightly, but sort of tries to hide it behind her hand, and you catch just like the barest glimpse. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then
Oh.
Justice says, I'm pretty sure we were just lost for like weeks underground. Did you guys not think I thought we were lost the whole time?
I think at the end we were found. I don't know. She's like twiddling her thumbs.
Now Justice is hiding a smile.
Caspian nods at that.
So I'm as I'm walking, around the square, I'm actually supporting the Magus. I have my kind of arm out, and the Magus is like taking my arm, and there's like a kind of an overturned chair, like a stone chair that's kind of like overturned, and like one of its legs is broken off, and the Magus kind of holds a hand out, and the chair almost seems to like rewind in time back to when it was in its whole state, and like the dust kind of swirls around it until it's just sort of sitting right there, and the Magus sits down in the square, and yeah, that just happened. That's all.
It's really cool to imagine like what this chair would have looked like in its actual state. Like, what did it look like before magic kind of crumbled away?
Yeah, maybe it's made of silver or something.
I envision like this chair being decorated with some jewels and very vibrant
totally.
colors.
Yeah, totally.
Probably the whole city used to be jewels and vibrant colors.
Mm-hmm. The Magus is just kind of like thinking about looking around, just kind of like remembering the past, remembering what this place used to be like in this city that they grew up in, and kind of like imagining all the people that used to live here a long time ago, and the language they spoke, and just like all those things that are missing now, and kind of like looking at all of their companions, the people that followed them here. I don't really have like a great voice for the Magus. I'm not really quite sure what they sound like, but I think that the Magus is like really intrigued by what you said, Caspian. Is anything ever truly lost? And says, I think that is a good question. Are things truly lost? I'm not quite sure anymore. My life in some ways has been about loss. After I lived my first lifetime and then lived many more, people all around me grew old and died while I remained the same, growing old but slowly. But every time new people would come back into my life, and I would see how even though there was death all around, there were some things that never died. Love, friendship, companionship, challenges, and the work. The work never dies. and the Magus kind of like puts a hand out and like with great effort, obvious great effort, like you can see kind of sweat dripping down. They revive this one. There's like a bookstore in the midst of the stall, kind of right across from them, and we can see the book. It's sort of like the reassemble itself from the rubble in the ground. Maybe a bookstore, maybe like a temple or a museum, some kind of ancient building they put together.
Sorry, did the Magus like he just pointed to it, or did he do the thing with the chair?
Oh yeah, I think the Magus just did the thing with the chair.
Cool. The knowledge you seek. The Caspian's going to go into the bookstore.
Clearly.
I don't know. Can we just roll?
You should probably. Yeah, I think you should tell us what you're looking for first.
I don't know what I'm looking for. I think Caspian's looking for just what this city used to be, and the evidence of that people used to be here, so that he knows that life can be preserved. Mm-hmm. Even when the people are gone, their stories can live on. Mm-hmm. That's nice. What he's looking for their stories. Cool.
I'm imagining you like walking through the bookstore, and there's like kind of like you can see the forms of people wandering the bookstore kind of in the dust, like as the sunlight shines through the dust, like forms of like kind of almost the dust almost shadows. Remembering shadows, totally, like these shadowy people. You see just like many volumes and tomes and like different books, and perhaps you're drawn to something in particular.
Perhaps.
You wanna roll?
My dice are in the other room.
I can grab a die for you really quick, or you can roll with roll 20. Or you should probably roll your own die.
Okay, one sec.
All right. It's pretty important.
I'll pick a number from 1 to 1,000. Yeah.
Haha.
Right.
I think this is the one that Marcy, you gave to Michael a couple Christmases ago.
Oh yeah, it looks like is that one of the new Neapolitan?
The Neapolitan, yeah.
I like that.
A 4.
A relic of paradise.
Relic of paradise.
Relic of paradise. What does that mean? What does that mean? What was the city that used to be here? I think the city that used to be here was full of light and color and music and just bountiful gems and everything. It used to be a beautiful city held up by magic. And as Caspian walks through the bookstore, he feels a pull towards the back. And at the back there's like one of those glass cases with trinkets and stuff in it. And he opens the door, and down just kind of at waist level in the center, a stone calls to him. And it's this beautiful, polished, shining opal all rainbow colors, and it almost radiates light and warmth by itself. And Caspian picks it up and feels the warmth in his hands, and he feels like a wave come over him, and just the magic from the stone fills his body, and he can't help but laugh. And I think I'm going to call it there.
That's awesome.
The spooky music was such a dark contrast to a relic of paradise.
That was nice. Yeah.
Don't hear the music.
Oh,
Cool. So I think we're gonna take a 15-minute break now, and when we come back, it'll be Rob's turn.
all right.
Right.
See you guys in
So,
15.
See y'all soon. Okay, good.
I don't really need color because just brown.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hey, everybody, we're back.
Yes.
Hello. Welcome.
So, we are currently at the Nameless City,
Yes.
and it's currently Elamira's turn. And I have to grab a napkin because I just made myself some really greasy quesadillas. I'll be right back.
Quesadilla.
Hey, that's me.
I want
Yes, it is your turn, Robert.
We are going to what you save, buried ward. All right, Ross, are you with us again?
Oh yeah, I'm here. Can you see me?
Okay, I can see you.
Excellent.
So, interesting. Ross, could you play the Magus for me?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
as long as the Magus is eating quesadillas.
Absolutely. Just eating a quesadilla ass.
Yeah, I'll happily be the Magus.
Totally.
So-
see that.
So Elamira is walking through the nameless city and the rubble of the buildings, and there is a section that is completely buried, and I'm kind of envisioning something very similar to Pompeii, where there is like a layer of dust, or I guess in their case basalt, but yeah, layer of dust over everything. You know, there's bits of wood, but most of it is fairly light, and even as Elamira steps through it, it sort of blows off in the wind, and her footsteps and the trails of her legs are left behind her. And as she walks through, her leg hits into something solid, and she pushes away layers and layers of the dust and sediment, and sees underneath a unpainted face.
Whoa.
It reminds her very much of the Magus and herself and of River,
Mm-hmm.
sharing all the same similar qualities. And she pulls it up and looks at the Magus, who has just sort of been drifting through every section of the city and has followed or has come along with Elamira to this portion. And Elamira raises the torso of this golem,
This
or
like
what looks
lifeless golem.
and raises it up out of the dust and sort of wipes away the eye sockets and just lightly rubs away the dust over the mouth and the nose. And just
your sister. I was
I-
wondering what happened to her.
Elamira glances sharply up at the Magus. My sister?
Yes, I made 3 of you. This was the one that, well, the one that we lost.
How was she lost?
The shadows were, the first time the shadows struck, a third of the city fell to their onslaught, and your sister was disenchanted in the battle. They had some way of drawing magic into themselves. They fed on it. They hungered for it. It's why they sailed across the sea to the city in the first place. It's why they came for me. It's why they've... Well, the battle's over now. The war's been won. But for a long time before I made you, we struggled with the shadows, myself and the other magi. And your sister, unfortunately, she fell in the first fight. You're actually the second of your name. This was the first. And she kind of like, you turn over the body in your hand, and you can see the mark of Elamura, some kind of like calligraphy that means Elamura carved. That's the same as what's carved kind of in the nape of your neck, carved there.
Elamira, she traces the lines of the name and just continues to brush the torso, the curves of the body, and whatever's left. There are some jagged sections that are broken, and she's sort of like crumbled at the waist. What was Elamira like? We all seem to be different. Subtly.
Elamira, and the Magus kind of gets this like far off look in her eyes. She kind of like closes her eyes and digs like she does whenever she has to like dig deep into an old memory. And she raises a hand, and this bubble of the past forms in her palm that just like expands and expands and expands until we're all standing inside of it, and your older sister Elamira is standing there. And it's almost like a movie, you know, like we're watching this kind of, it's not the truth, like the Magus doesn't have the power to actually like bring us into the past anymore. That power is like long gone from them. But the dust motes remember, you know, the dust in the ground remembers the past, and she's able to conjure it into the air. And these kind of sort of similar to what we saw in the bookstore, these kind of like dusty apparitions of the past appear, reflecting the light in ways that trick our eye into thinking that they're still alive. And you see Elamura, the older Elamura, standing before you, and she has this like broad smile on her face and looks like very mirthful. And as she is doing battle and kind of like mocking her enemies as she strikes them down, and you know, running back and forth and leaping and dodging with ease as she wields her blade with great skill.
But she seems so young and full of life.
She was very full of life, and she did not live very long.
Why do we all persist for so long? I've lost all sense. I barely care. It's only recently that justice has even made me see the joy left in life.
Oh, Elamura. And the Magus kind of comes over and puts a hand on your shoulder and says, I don't know how I managed to make someone who worries as much as you. Really, just enjoy what you have. Death comes once, and it only lasts a few moments. You're alive until that happens.
I think I'd relish the moment to finally have an end to a story that was long overdue one. It's not, I don't mean, and she raises a hand, I don't mean to say that I am ungrateful for my experiences, but I've been around for so long. You've been around for so much longer. Why do we keep existing? It's painful at a point. It's tiring.
The Magus lowers their hand, and the dust around falls lifeless to the ground, and we're back in the midst of these ruins with the kind of like lifeless body of this golem in your arms still. Well, just why don't you bring her with us? Maybe you'll find a reason.
Elamira, she hefts the body. It seems easy for her, but clearly it's, you know, a couple 100 pounds of stone. And she carries the body.
Yes. I think that she's as much a part of this as the rest of us, and should see the end of our journey.
And she begins to pull out bits of rope and leather cordage, and she binds the older Elamira, the cracked torso, to the back of her body, and sort of like a child in a wrap, and she carries her on her back.
Well, Elamira, you're going to see the end through my eyes, but I guess those are your own in a way.
And that's scene.
At the other end of the city is the Night Ward, a place where where whatever's left of the I'm like imagining like this is the place where the king of the shadows was slain, and they're in their throes of dying. This is the place where a long time ago, like I think we like River's kind of like imagining as she like looks out, this like epic battle against these shadowy warriors and the shadow king, and fighting, and then how finally with the aid of her sister's sacrifice, she was able to finally like drive a sword through the Shadow King's heart. But in the king's throes, he cast this mighty curse of eternal night on this part of the land, and it's never really recovered since then. And even now, like as walking through this place, it's like there's this kind of veil where the sun refuses to penetrate, and it's very cold and icy. And the ruins here, the buildings here are like intact, but just all frozen over and just like covered in ice. And I think sorry, I get distracted when texting happens like during scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I don't know. I think that just like River is we see River walking through the Night Ward, and she is I think eventually she like comes to the place where the did River ever talk about like what happened to her sword that she like had a long time ago? I can't remember if that was ever.
Yep. It was
it was in that giant had it, right?
Yep.
And then you ended up taking it.
Yeah, and then I threw it into into the glade.
Threw it into the glade, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we just see River like standing in the in this kind of like blasted place where the darkness is the thickest, and the frozen body of of the Night King is still there, just kind of like encased in ice. Its arms clutched around where the sword once pierced them, but it's like since been drawn out a long time ago. And yeah, I don't really know where River's going with this, but I think I'm not sure why she came here. I'm just thinking like maybe she's just kind of like remembering, kind of having this memory of like being in the city a long time ago. Yeah, that's all I have for that scene.
Nice.
Okay, Marcy, you're next.
I love how like we've had little snippets piecing together the history of this place.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's really fun to build a story that way.
I'm gonna do the Night Ward also. I was hoping that Elamira would be in this scene with me.
I will absolutely be in this scene with you. Don't
Do it.
break my heart.
So I think it's nighttime, and camp has been set up, and I think Justice kind of like not secretly, we're a small group, right? But quietly like asks Elamira like if she wants to go for a walk with her, and they kind of like steal off into the shadows while I'm imagining this scene of the Magus still sitting in that chair, which I think has Rivers probably carried since that moment. Because it would be too much of a strain to make another, and has requested some entertainment, and so I'm imagining that River is reading from the tale from the poetry book of the giant, and that Maurice it turns out is a percussionist and is familiar with giant music, and so there's this slow drumming with this very long and slow giant poem, and Harp is just dozed off to sleep, like pretending to listen, laying against Harley, who is also asleep. Yeah, and so Justice and Elamira go for a walk into the Night Ward. Justice is pretending that they're not cold and pretending that they're not shivering, and they just walk through the streets and like chat lightly until they find this like old staircase up to a cliff, and they walk up it, and it's an overlook from where you can see the Sightless Sea. Far enough away that you can't actually hear the waves crashing on the shore, but outside of the Night Ward, the stars are much brighter, and you can see in the Sightless Sea the water level must have raised, because you can see the crumbled tops of buildings standing out, and we're at daytime. And maybe, depending on how Elmira's night sight is, it would be clear that the missing tops of these buildings from the pieces that we can see sticking out of the water are the same ones that were floating through while we were on the waters inside the globe. And yeah, we're standing there looking out over the water, and Justice is not looking at Elamira, is looking out and says, I wanted to apologize for I didn't ask, I just kissed you when we were in the fortress, and that was presumptuous of me.
Yeah. It was. I'd call it stealing if it felt like it was offered. But But no. I don't think it was stolen. I don't even think it was taken. I think that you just moved first.
I mean, I would not deny if you called me a thief, and I want to be clear, I do not regret what I did, just the way that I did it.
More double entendres, please.
Yeah.
I don't think that you're a thief. I think that you're just strong enough to take what you want. Whereas I sat on the sidelines and just expected you to make the first move.
Justice is quiet for a minute and then just starts laughing. Loud, barking laughter, and like stops very suddenly and shivers. And then that is when Justice turns to look at you and says, Justice turns to look at you and then reaches out to the spot where your arm used to be and caresses it and says, "Can you even feel the cold here?"
No. No, the last time I felt much was in the city of Rags, where I was able to actually feel a calling. Actually, that's not true. No, it was in the old crone's hut when she gave me that tea. It's a rarity. But I wouldn't say that it's the last time I felt something, but in the terms of physical, yes.
Justice then takes Elmira's other hand in hers, in both of her hands, and has Elmira's hand completely like wrapped up, and says, "What do you feel? You fight. You must have senses. Can you can't feel the cold. I'm sure you can't feel the heat of my hand, but can you feel the pressure?" And she squeezes as she says that.
No. I think it was a failing of the Magus, designing a warrior that couldn't tell when they were in danger. Designing a warrior who couldn't tell when they lost an arm. Designing a warrior who couldn't tell when they felt pain.
Wow, everybody's a critic.
Justice's mood is going to like turn a bit darker for a second and say, "I don't think it was an accident that you were designed that way. I don't think it was a failing." And then she's like going to turn away, just her face turn away and like look out over the ocean again. And then she turns back to you and says, "It's a very good joke that you would say that I had the strength to take that the years of my life that I have spent swinging my sword at you, because that was the only way that I could understand the heat, the drive, the calling. It was not strong of me to wait this long to put my blade down."
Nobody always makes the correct decision the first time. It's tough.
30.
Well, I've made a million wrong decisions. I've lived a lot longer. And I only had a fallible teacher and a lovely sister. You had many people to look out for you. A beautiful mother. And she smiles. And a million siblings. But whether or not you made the decision right the first time, you roll with the punches. It's something that stone lacks. The ability to react to changing situations. I feel like time breaks on me like water on rock. I just push through. Decisions matter little, because in the end, whoever my decisions affected will pass into time, and I'll just be here. I can make 1,000,000 wrong decisions. Cities could die. What does it matter to me? But you have to live with the consequences of your actions, because in the end they will shape who you are remembered as. But everybody who remembers me is long since dead.
I kind of imagine, like, if there was a panning camera right now, that is when the two big statues would, like, come into the background of the shot.
Totally.
Okay. Absolutely. But you've always done everything to the best of your ability. And she like raises your head up, like just lightly touching your chin to look her in the eyes. You are phenomenal. Amazing. Beautiful. Steadfast. Loyal. Every bit the warrior, every bit the amazing woman anybody could ever hope for.
Justice is not able to, like, keep looking you in the eyes during that entire thing. And she's not shivering anymore. And she says, I love you, Elamira. I don't know when it happened, but I know it's been a long time. I know that when I was hired by the Magus, being around you was the only time that I ever felt calm in my life. And seeing your patience and consideration taught me to spend more time watching and thinking. I have spent my life obsessed with the blade. I was very lucky that Harp was able to find a teacher for me, and with that opportunity, I took it very seriously, and I dedicated my life thinking that there was nothing in the world that would ever feel as perfect to me as a fight. And the fights with you always felt more perfect. And not fighting with you never felt boring, even though you are such a quiet, slow person. And when we kissed in the castle, I realized that feeling of perfection doesn't have to come from a fight. It's better if it doesn't come from a fight.
I agree. I would feel really bad if I had to beat you into submission every time I wanted to kiss those beautiful, luscious lips.
I mean, if you ever talk to me like that again,
I would never. Merely a joke. But you are what completes me. The Magus carved me from stone millennia ago. And I've walked this earth feeling like all that dust I shed the first time was something I was missing. But in the end, it wasn't the rock that forged me. That was something I had lost. Something inside that the Magus left unfinished, whether by choice or by happenstance. You've filled a great void in my soul. And I've never been happier to feel whole.
Oh, it's so sweet.
Justice is looking out over the water again and spends a few moments like that. And while still looking out over the water, says, do you not fear that if we can't bring back magic, that you are dead?
I'm not afraid of it. I think that if this is where it all ends, I would be happy. But, well, I can't say wholly happy, leaving you alone in this world, but I have lived far too long and felt or received much grace for having been able to exist for as long as I have and to experience what I've had. And it's just sad that at the end of all things, that I find exactly what I've been looking for. But perhaps in a small way, that's justice.
Justice.
Yes, double entendre.
She's still looking out over the water, and she says, my life might be short compared to yours, but this is still a disappointing amount of time. And if this is all the time that we have, I wanted to ask you something. And then she turns back to you. And she says, I would give my sword. I would give anything if before we go to the end of this, before we reach Umbra, if you would marry me.
Elamira.
Does she like get down on one knee?
No, she's taken on like an priest swearing an oath of fealty. Like she's moved her sword out in front of her from the side, like on the belt, and is like taking a step back and is bowing her head.
Elamira drives the sword back into the sheath and grabs the back of your head and just kisses you in the deepest possible kiss.
Oh,
And it feels like warm stone rather than cold.
Yeah.
As we kiss, light starts to flicker around us, blue light from the ground, and a sigil, a ward that had laid dormant here, animates. And very quickly, light overtakes us. And I don't know if we notice until it's already like bright. So bright that we can't see for a moment. And then the moment ends and the light is gone. And now you are holding Elamira is holding Justice's hand. Elamira is holding Justice's hands with two hands. Elamira has a flesh arm at her side. bound together with the silver and gold and jewels of the blade of Justice. And Justice only has her not fighting arm now. And I'm going to call that scene. And I want to be very clear that the arm is not what Justice lost. I don't know if I can really describe what Justice did lose, but she just doesn't want to fight anymore.
Damn.
Imagining like the Shadow King, the frozen Shadow King, like disintegrating and melting in its ice block, and like
Yes. Magic of friendship.
true love breaking the curse.
Love.
Love. Love. He says love as he disintegrates. Like love.
Good death rattle all these years later.
Thank you for that, Marcy. That was
you.
phenomenal.
Feelings.
Very
Feelings.
tender, very
Internally
emo.
screaming and actually screaming.
Literally screaming.
I'm like shaking.
Yeah.
Oh. The Shaz, it's your turn.
My mouth hurts from smiling.
That was amazing. What the heck? All right. Well, I'm going to do a scene that kind of celebrates. Well, do you want to keep this engagement kind of like between you two? Because I would kind of like to do a hospitality of the nameless, and I have like a whole thing kind of envisioned for this.
Just do it.
I don't think Justice could keep that a secret.
Palace of Silver, the hospitality of the nameless. Wow. So the engagement has been revealed, and people of our group has noticed Elamira and Justice walking hand in hand together, with like the biggest smile on their face, and kind of walking like they're walking on clouds. And maybe quite literally, if they have the power of magic to bring them up. And we all are gathered around celebrating, and some of the citizens, the people of the Nameless, thought it would be nice to host a little feast for you guys. And what they bring us to is this building has stairs leading up, and at the top of the stairs are large pillars on both sides, and then kind of like a large platform that's in this area, but it's all kind of run down and crumbled. And I like to mention that these people of the Nameless, I envision like trees, like walking trees.
Wow.
And they move slowly, but they speak a little bit slow too, but they're so full of wisdom, and they hunch over down to Elamira and Justice and say, "Oh, we could do a little fixing up here, can't we?" And kind of like gives like a tap onto the ground, and you see like a spark on the ground, full vibrant colors, just a little splotch where it had been hit. And I was like, oh, maybe I should try again. It taps it again, and it sparks up, and it kind of fizzles a little with the light around on the bottom, and it starts to explode, and the entire building just becomes what it used to be. Using all of the power that the tree has within itself, it brings up this building back to life. The vibrant colors, it shines and it glows. The torches are lit. And the trees invite us in to be seated at this table. And we're being served by the fruits that are hanging from their hair, I guess, the leaves and the branches. Although, because it's the magic is a little lost, it looks like dead fruit or fruit that isn't ripe, and they pick it from their branch. But as soon as they put on the plate, they tap it once more, and it comes to life into this like an abundant amount of fresh fruit and the foods that look so appetizing, so fresh and good to eat. I know that Elamura can't eat, I don't think, so maybe there is some paint that they have prepared on one side, and it's like all the colors and that you haven't ever seen before. And the tree asks you if you would like anything to be drawn on you.
I think. What is the deepest blush you would have?
The tree looks over to the one with like the rose bush in its branches, and like kind of takes the twig and kind of invites them over. And the tree kind of picks the roses off and says, "I think these are the deepest blush we have." And
They would do fantastically.
and they take kind of like a mortar and pestle and starts grinding up the pigment in the roses and sits you down to be painted. What is Justice doing at this moment?
I think Justice wants River's help. So Justice, as soon as that rose tree starts like preferring these leaves, like skitters over to River and says, "I want to be painted. I want some of these sigils." Is that allowed? Is that rude to you guys? I'm thinking of it as a gesture.
Cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
No. It's it is done. It is done sometimes in special occasions, and certainly on an occasion such as this, it would be appropriate. But I have never drawn the sigils on my own. I could do it myself, though my hand is not practiced at it. The Magus really would probably know best what to do. And if you will let them.
River, I hope that you will take no offense when I say that I don't want the person who birthed my beloved for war and left her empty to paint the sigils of our wedding. And I know that you have been a far dearer friend to Elamura than the Magus ever has been. And so I was hoping that it would be you. This was not meant to be a fancy occasion. We're lucky we got this. I believe your sigils will be perfect. Will be just the thing.
Cool. Yeah. So Elamura kind of like nods and knows better than to argue with children about the necessary sacrifices of harder times. And dips, pulls out some paint pots and dipping a fingernail in, begins to trace with these kind of like tender hands, like kind of the wedding spirals and marks on your face, and then kind of your arms as well. And then when it's done, you have these like really beautiful, like kind of like white and like bright blue swirls and markings that are just, and I'm sure there's like some meaning to them. They probably, there's probably some like traditional, some like traditional wards and sigils, to like keep your relationship safe and to bind you, to protect your partnership together. There, I did what I could, what I know how.
Thank you very much, River, for now, for being with us on this journey, and for being with Elamira on her journey.
Thank you so much for giving her your heart. I've never seen her so happy. She said, proud to call you sister-in-law.
What does Caspian think about this whole event?
So Caspian has been watching these trees and their magic, and feels the glow of the stone in his hand. And
the stone.
He looks at it and he holds it, and he watches the trees making flowers, and he reaches out his paw, and a very small flower appears in his hand. And Caspian goes to Elamira and presents it to her, and it's not much, but I made this for you.
Oh.
Congratulations.
You might be muted.
I can't hear you,
Sorry.
Rob.
Sorry. It is the greatest gift I ever could have gotten on this day. And she takes the small flower. How? No. Thank you. Caspian, you have given me so much. You gave me hope in darkness, and you have given me light on the greatest day of my life. Not to mention a beautiful flower. And she smiles and holds it up.
The same could be said for you, my friend.
And there's just a small silent moment between Caspian and Elamira. Thank you.
My heart. I think Harp. I don't know if Harp wants to say anything. She just admires seeing you two and seeing how happy Justice is, and it makes her feel so fulfilled with just love. And
Was Harp like the efficient?
I would think so.
Yeah, maybe it's time for you to give your speech.
She like takes her little cup. Wow. Seeing Justice grow up to be such a stubborn fighter, and seeing the kind of love that she is capable of not only receiving but giving, it's wonderful. It truly is such a wonderful thing that it fills my heart to know that she experiences this. And she well deserves it. She's worked hard and beat herself up over the years but she knows now, and she can feel the love that I've always wanted her to experience. I'm so grateful to have Elamira be here and provide that, because you are such a wonderful soul and so calming in your nature. You make Justice open up her arms into what she's been hiding, or she's kept herself from. So thank you. And
I'm imagining some like applause and like some like tree people kind of like shaking their leafy limbs.
Yes.
I just want to say I love both of you so much. And I'm so proud of you. And she like walks over to you and gives you both such a big hug.
It's really not so much like you're losing a daughter. It's like you're gaining another daughter.
When you do the hug, Justice is going to kiss you on the cheek and say, "Thanks, Mom."
And she's like, oh.
Elamira sort of holds your hand for a moment.
And thank you for making sure that Justice was never a brat or a misbehaving child swinging a sword dangerously. She has become the most phenomenal woman that I have ever met. And I knew her for a long time. And we sparred, and we have fought. And through all those moments, I have never felt like I have known somebody more than in the small misstep she gives in a thrust, or the slight feint that she has when she tries to draw your guard. She is nuanced and interesting and beautiful. And I feel like if I study her for the rest of my lifetime, I will never know all her ins and outs. And without you, I fear she never would have made it to this point. So thank you.
For the first time, Harp finally lets herself cry in front of Justice.
Justice is so uncomfortable with both right now. And is like, after a few minutes of like letting Harp cry, I was gonna say claps both of you on the shoulder, but I guess she can't do that. It is gonna put an arm around Harp and then like hip check Elamira and say, "All right, guys, it's supposed to be a celebration."
Yeah, enough with these emo speeches.
I think as you say that, the building kind of like flickers almost, and like the color, and then to the grayness, and then it just shuts off to the gray. But because of how spirited we are, it doesn't feel like anything has changed. Everything is still so bright and wonderful, and everyone is just so joyful.
Yeah.
I think that will be my scene.
All right.
All right.
Oh, Jesus. It's so one to go and I'm already crying.
Well, it's your turn.
No.
It's like every time it's your turn, you're like, no. Why? Don't make me play.
No. Yeah. I mean, we have one place to go. We have one last
Yeah, maybe we should do it.
to do.
So we have an hour left.
Done. Okay.
Last stop, not gonna lie, that actually hit me when you said one last stop. That hurt.
Second last stop, come on.
Feelings. Feelings. Okay, Foxy Boy. And then, okay. When magic was born. Magic was born. Oh, God, I hate playing the Vegas. So we're celebrating this beautiful marriage. I imagine the celebrations go late into the night. Probably into the next morning.
Party people.
But instead of the sun rising, there's a different kind of light coming up kind of over the horizon, just on the edges of town. And it seems to be coming from everywhere, not just one direction. I don't know.
Did the Magus also pull an all-nighter with us?
Sitting in his chair.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he can sense, not that he's unwanted, but that he should keep his distance. Getting the vibe that Justice is putting out.
Those are some harsh vibes.
Oh. Man. The statue in the middle of the city shakes, and then opens up. And the light that seems to be coming from everywhere now seems to be coming from inside of it. From the like it just splits and opens. And the Magus stands up from his chair and walks through into the light. And the rest of us are left just watching.
I like that.
So glad I'm back.
Rob.
Oh shit. Okay. All right. So I just want to get a refresher on the leaf.
Oh yeah, so that's a change. And when you, after describing the prompt, it's you have to also describe. You're going to change a one of the words on your character card and describe why you think that's true.
Okay. Right. I forget if I had a word. I think I had legendary.
I don't know what my word was.
Yeah, that's one funny thing about the game going this long.
Yeah.
Forgotten. Like, I actually had somebody in our house that like cleaned our house not a while ago, and they like moved all my pile of note cards that was on my desk. So I don't know where my note card is either.
Oh no. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was legendary. I was given legendary by Justice when we originally fought.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember if my character had one.
So does something have to change, or if you don't have one, then
no, you do. You have to change something. Well, you have a name and you have a role.
True.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're currently a golem of Ravenhall. We're both golems of Ravenhall.
Oh shit. Okay. All right, I've been given something that would help with this. Okay, so,
Let's see if I can find mine real quick.
I'm going to go with almost.
I can still hear you.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with almost. So, as like the glow continues to envelop the town, the Elamira, she looks at the Magus and frowns slightly, and looks back at Justice.
They have a fantastic talent for ruining a mood.
And as she holds Justice's hands and just sort of squeezes them lightly, or Justice's hand, I should specify.
Come with me.
Into there?
Yeah. What's
don't-
the harm? This could be the end. Could be the beginning. It's just a light. And you're going with me.
I don't think there's any beginnings in there. I'll come with you if you want me to, but I wish you wouldn't go.
Man, don't do this to me. I already put my marker on the table.
I need to go. I need to see this through to the end. Because a long time ago I gave my word.
Your word was taken from you,
Yes.
but I don't think that I can be in there the same way that you can't really be in here.
Elamira takes a look at the glow.
You know what? The last time I saw real magic was the spark in your eye as we ran through a puzzled room in the Fortress of Karst. You wanted to explore endlessly with me. You wanted to see everything that place could offer. You wanted to see exactly where we might end up, but also never wanting to know and only caring about how long it might take us to get there, or if we ever would, or not even caring. It was amazing.
And Elamira steps in front of the glow to sort of block the glow from Justice.
You're right. My word and my voice was taken from me a long time ago. And I don't care what the Magus does anymore. I'm staying with you. Magic, the end of this world, the end of myself. Be damned. I'll spend my last moments in your arm. Whether that be now, 50, 60 years from now. I'm done following that reckless person. I love you, Justice.
Justice started off what you were saying by rolling her eyes, but she's very charming now. And she doesn't look away while you're saying all of this, which is very out of character for her. And she listens to you telling her that you would be willing to stay here and die here if that's what staying with her means. And when you're done, she leans forward and she kisses you. And and steps back, and then you see that glint in her eyes, that fighting glint, and you can hear and like out of the corner of your eye see her foot repositioning. And she's going to do the same thing that she did to kiss you, because last time you didn't have an arm and you hadn't practiced not having an arm. Now you have a flesh arm that you haven't practiced with, and you're standing right in front of the light, and she is going to tackle you into the light and go through with you.
Damn. That scene. How could you do me like this?
So before you can end your scene, you have to change or remove a word from your note card and tell us why you think that's true.
I need to go back to the other thing just to make sure I have this correct. Okay.
I'm pretty sure I gave you legendary.
You did give me legendary.
I remember that.
And I do lose the legendary tag. Less so much for the scene that just happened, and more for the wedding, the regaining of a flesh arm. It's Elamira no longer even embodies that title. And as she passes through the light with Justice, so much of her was lost to history, and this is just the last bit to leave. And the legendary tag fades with it.
All right. Next. The next to walk into the glow is River, following her sister and her new sister in the Magus. And as she enters, she feels this like warm light envelop her, and now all that she can see is light. And with every step that she takes, she can feel her body starting to crumble, starting with the top of her head, as it just gets like warmer and warmer. And it doesn't crumble. I think it actually just like steams off, almost like she's made of ice. And it's like the magic that has bound her stone together for all of these many years, just like getting absorbed, like just like disintegrating like salt and water. And she, as that happens, like we start to hear these voices coming out, and it's all the experiences that she's had in her like very, very like long life. As her body's disintegrating, it's like releasing all of these experiences. The voices of all the people that she's known and loved and served and fought, all of her companions, all the experiences that we had on this journey. It's like this kind of audio montage of different scenes throughout our story together. And and then this continues happening until like her waist is just her head is just this kind of like plume of smoke, and then her torso, and then and then her legs still kind of like moving, stepping, as the rest of her kind of dissolves into this like sparkling dust. And then that's all that's left of her is this like smoke. And as we see this like kind of cloud in front of us, we can still kind of like make out the shape of her face, in the still kind of like its form still held by the smoke, until that is gone also. That's my scene. And I think I'll just maybe remove the golem part. I don't think Elmira's. I don't think River's a golem anymore. She was just absorbed.
Damn.
Maybe Golem of the Glow. I'll do that.
Oh.
Ooh.
She's like absorbed into the glow. That's my scene. Marcy, you're next. Marcy and then Shaz.
As soon as Justice passes through the glow with Elamira, she also uses Elamira. She had her body pressed against her as she tackled her in while she was still. She was reaching out to try and catch the flesh hand with her remaining hand as they went through the glow, and she grabbed it for a moment, and they touched skin, and then Jocelyn was alone in the glow, and then Jocelyn was just the glow. I don't know if she still has a body, but she sure isn't aware of it if she does. And in that existence of just light and heat, she sees all of the history of magic for a moment. And like a bird's eye view of a history is in front of her, and then it tightens in and tightens in until she just sees the Magus's life, all of it at the same time. She sees the Magus with her peers, studying, learning about magic as it was new, learning how to interact with it, and then she sees the hundreds of times over the years the Magus has been alive that the Shadow Kings and Shadow Raiders and other denizens that Justice doesn't have names for, because this is the only time the Magus has ever spoken about it. This is the only time, this journey was the only time the Magus has ever spoken about it. And Justice feels the Magus losing everyone in these wars, and the numbers of the Magi dwindling, and having to, starting with conscripting the people that live in Umbra and the areas surrounding it to try and fight these wars, and those people just being destroyed to protect magic, and instead making animated soldiers, and then trying to give those animated soldiers souls and reasons, and not being able, that's not a thing you can give to someone else. And just sees that whole history, and then doesn't see anything anymore. And I'm removing her title completely and her knight name, and she's just Jocelyn now, just Jocelyn Semple. At best, if she had to change careers, probably midwife of Barleytown, but like she wasn't really paying attention to any of that.
Nice. Your turn, Shaz.
All right. This is tough.
Yep.
Her face in the glow. I think watching the others go through the glow, she approaches it hesitantly. And she looks down and hears a little snort. And she crouches down. Oh, Harley. Oh, the adventures, and it's led us here. Don't you believe it? It's the glow.
Harley's like pushing you actively away from it. Like he's got his like head to your chest and he's like
Oh, Harley, you know what I told you before. You can't come with me here. You've got to grow on your own.
you can feel like the hot tears. Animals don't necessarily cry, but they have like their eyes get really wet, and you can feel like that, like his hot face against your chest.
She crouches down and hugs Harley very tightly. Oh, Harley. Oh, this might be the toughest thing I've ever had to do. And she pulls back and holds Harley's face in both hands. I don't know. I never thought it comes so quickly to an end.
His nose snuffles against your face and is like licking the like wetness of your own eyes.
You feel those little rubbery pig lips on your cheek.
I want to bring you with me, but you have to make that on your own. She gets up from her knees and she slowly walks and looks at Harley to see if he's following.
Harley is following.
I can't leave you. But whatever happens through that glow, I'm glad you're with me. She crouches down and she holds him with like both her hands. And she kind of like waddles. And she looks into the glow and almost sees like a reflection of herself. And it's like a younger childlike version of herself.
Like holding a little piglet.
Yeah, holding a piglet. And she kind of like teases Harley to see like the reflection kind of react the same way. And it's like baby Harley snorting.
He's just like rubbing his head against your chin, like trying to make you like look away from it in a sense.
There's like some tears that kind of fall from Harp's face onto Harley, and she wipes them off. And it's like, all right, hold your breath. And she walks through. And I think through this glow, Harp turns back into a child. And yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Nice.
And I'm going to change her title to Child of the Glow.
Nice. It's your turn, Mutiny.
All of your scenes were so beautiful.
That was so beautiful.
For the first time in this campaign, I knew exactly what I had to do. So Caspian watches all of this. His beautiful friends. That he has never felt closer to anyone. River, the wise old Gollum, and Elmira, the anxious young Gollum with a heart of gold. Justice, stubborn and brave and loyal. And Harp, just the kindest soul. I'm gonna cry. Oh
Yeah.
God.
I'm holding back tears.
Yeah. You're gonna cry? I'm already crying.
Yeah, I'm already there.
I've been tearing up, but talking is worse. Caspian walks up, and as everyone sort of disappears, he walks to the light and puts his hand onto Harley's head and just gently pats him. And the opal, still in Caspian's other hand, it begins radiating heat again. And the light starts to dim from the crack. And the opal starts to glow. And the shadows light up Caspian's face from below. And he feels and hears his friends all around him as the light transfers into this stone that he felt that draw and that connection to. I'm changing Caspian's title to the Magus.
Whoa.
And Caspian now holds the magic of all of the past lives of the golems and the Magus and his friends in his hand. And the light erupts everywhere. So there's like a boom of light across the land, and where all around them there was decay and chaos, things start growing again and glowing, and color just explodes everywhere. And Caspian makes a silent vow to honor his friends, and he will never create images of himself, and he will never try to make people fight for him, but he will protect this magic till his last breath.
Oh.
And he turns with Harley, and they walk out of the town together.
It's Caspian and Harley. Oh my god.
That was amazing.
Should we end it there? It's Rob's turn. You get to decide.
Wait, shit, it's my turn. I think so.
Oh shit.
I don't think there's anything after that. That is just Harley turns and just follows Caspian across along. Yeah, no, there's nothing that could follow that. Holy crap, Mutiny, that was amazing.
Yeah.
So I'd like to invite folks to, maybe we can do a little go around and share, how you're feeling right now, and appreciation, the moment you enjoyed, a moment of silence, whatever you're feeling like.
Definitely take a moment of silence just for a quick minute.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, let's just let it marinate.
Yeah. All right.
Did it.
Yep.
We did it.
We did it.
What did we do exactly?
We cried a lot.
We should have one of those cry counters going
Yeah,
for the whole session.
Yeah, we did the
We
thing.
should.
That was an incredible ending.
Wow.
I'm so glad that this was Caspian's End.
Yeah.
That was really good.
That was amazing.
Really drove it home.
Mhm.
Where to start?
Honestly.
Well,
Oh,
no,
Yeah, go for it.
ahead.
I want to start and say thank you, Marcy, for. We do this a lot, but in in terms of just
High tension characters.
Yeah.
It's not always romantic, but it's always high tension characters.
Exactly. And I truly fell in love with Justice, and it was amazing, and I always love those moments. Like, I know some people, they'll look at our moments where we'll just stare at each other and just have the most intense scenes, and it does go every possible way. Like, it could be like the deepest seated anger or just the deepest love, and there's nobody else that can ever get that. So thank you.
Thank you. Always. I think this is the first time we've ever taken.
Wait, the first time we ever played Fall of Magic, we fell in love and we started a farm.
That's true. That's true. The Swineford and the Fugitive.
Yep.
Yes.
That is truly what got me into this game.
Yeah.
And that is a literal formative memory of my life.
That's lovely.
I was really, I don't know if worried is the right word, but like our vibe, our operating procedure is usually like, these very jubilant stories with really sad endings, and I was really like, with the wedding and everything, I was like, this is either going to be our first happy ending or it's going to be a really awful, painful ending. And I'm glad that we managed to make it like a happy, sad ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. Best of both worlds.
Finally pulled it off.
Yeah.
Finally hit that through line.
Thanks to Mutiny.
Magic of friendship.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm at a loss of words to kind of, my appreciation really is truly for every one of you. Both like individually, you are all amazing storytellers, and you bring such like emotion and detail, just like incredible storytelling. And I myself, like, I am new to RPGs, so being thrown into a story that can make me cry, and being vulnerable to cry because of a story that we made up, it's like, wow, it's an unbelievable feeling. And to have you folks be so dedicated into building this world and playing off relationships, this entire campaign has been truly one of the best playthroughs of Fall of Magic, and I'll never forget it. And I want to just send my deepest appreciation for all of you individually, and say wow, you are amazing. I love you all.
Ditto.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Thank you to Ross for making this game that makes us cry over and over and over again.
I think you made us cry.
We love it.
You're very welcome.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful game, and you're all so beautiful people. That we've created this beautiful story together. And thank you to Marcy for spearheading this and bringing us all together.
Yeah.
your passion for role-playing games has brought us here.
Yeah, I just wanted to. This was really special for me. That was a really beautiful, beautiful ending, Mutiny. I just really love how you just knew what to do at the end. That was really cool. And it just felt, I love all of the little pieces that we all brought together, and how our characters related to each other, and just watching everything change. And I don't know, at the beginning of the game, I just felt like I was on a computer with 4 strangers, and now I just feel really connected to you 4, and I'm never gonna forget this. This was just a really special experience for me. I'm really grateful to thank you all just for showing up every week, every time we did this. That was really cool for me. And I'm also just really grateful for Ray for holding space for this and doing behind the scenes work. It's just really nice to be able to relax and know that somebody was really holding it down and taking care of all the technical aspects. And I just hope people watching this get inspired to play story games. And I just feel like I've benefited so much from story games in my life, and just from making up stories with my friends. It's just always all my favorite narrative experiences happen just like this. And it was just really special, and I'm just really grateful to be here, and really glad that we got to do this together. It's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. And thank you, Ray, for bringing Ross to us.
Honestly.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It was just like a perfect storm. Everything seemed to work out, and this was meant to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And just thank everybody for just being willing to basically be that open and really let yourselves experience what was happening and take it in, and then turn it back around and give us such amazing story and so many amazing characters. I mean, that's an art form that is, one of the ones that I prize the most. And so, that was amazing. So, everything else seems kind of anticlimactic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But thank you, everyone, for watching. This has been an amazing show just to be a part of, and being a witness to it was probably the best part for me. But we will be back in 2 weeks with the lab. We have no idea what we're doing yet. But we will be in 2 weeks with the lab, and we will be doing another indie of some kind, and we will be telling more incredible stories. Dinner and a Game will be continuing with our other content, which includes our Wednesday night stream of a D&D 5e campaign that the entire cat crew is actually kind of literally writing the world as we go along. And then on Thursday nights, we have our new City of Mist game called Ethos and Mythos, which is City of Mist is a very neat, unique system, combining 2 aspects of 2 of my favorite systems into one, and creating a really unique game story and a lot of unique mechanics. So if you guys want to check those out, you can find the content here. And everyone else, I mean, if you guys, I cannot state this enough, if you guys want to see some amazing, not only games, but games that are basically works of art, you need to go check out Heart of the Unicorn Studios, because the stuff they do is incredible, and you can find the links here. But I mean, you guys can see the artwork that was up on the Roll20 map. That when you get the game, it literally is a scroll of a piece that has that artwork printed on it, and it is kind of just amazing and gorgeous. And
I got one. I can go grab it.
Go ahead.
Do it. Go for it.
Well, I've got Barley Town hanging on the wall behind me.
Yeah, Barley Town hanging on the wall behind.
Cool.
I'll show you.
I want to do that.
Yeah, and so and these things they're hand printed, and it's an amazing process to watch. They've got videos up on their site that show the process, and these are screen printed, and they're incredibly gorgeous, and the boxes have gorgeous artwork, and the pieces are incredible. So,
Wow. Oh, that's so cool.
From afar.
I need that.
I don't think many of those exist. I think that's
It's
and then Marcy has the actual
yeah.
scroll.
That's the scroll.
It is so
It's
cool.
slightly big,
Yeah,
but
like
it's
5 feet.
Gorgeous.
it's just gorgeous. The new ones that are coming out, are those going to have the revised stuff on it, Ross?
Yeah, we're working on it right now. We're just about to start printing them. Actually, we had to change the font a couple times, but we've got it down now.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Yeah, at our scroll factory.
Let's get the scroll factory. And of course,
Yeah.
for everyone who's been on tonight, all of these people are, they're creators themselves. Marcy, thank you so much. I found Marcy on TikTok. She has an amazing TikTok channel. Go check out the content on there. It's incredible. And you can find Marcy here. But I found Marcy running games of RPGs on TikTok with her lives, and I was like, this is amazing. You need the proper place to do this on, and I will give it to you until you have it up yourself, because I want to see this. I want to see this up, and I want to see this present, and I want to share this with the world for you until you're ready to share it yourself. And we're taking steps. We're actually getting there. Rob and I are working on getting everything set up. So, the lab hopefully soon will be their own entity, and we will see them out in the world. And of course, Mutiny has been amazing. And, Mutiny, for all those times that you said you didn't know what to do, man, did you finish just... Whoa.
Wait. I love the irony of, Mutiny not being, being a bit anxious with playing the Magus, and then at the end...
Like becoming a Magus.
I want to specify, Mutiny has never played the Magus in my entire knowledge.
Oh, that's not true. I did have there was the one time where I had a complete and total panic attack and almost left the game.
Right.
But
hopefully
still the Magus that time.
Yeah, the final scene, and it was just phenomenal. So yeah.
Next time we play, the Magus is just gonna have fox ears and a bushy tail.
Yes.
and scars on his arm.
And of course, Rob, I mean, all the scenes you always were ready to step in. You played Harley, which was amazing. Harley was steam sealing all the time. And
It's just amazing.
so if you want to follow Rob's content, he's already started working on his cosplay. If you go to our Discord, let me put our Discord up. I forgot to put that up earlier. If you go to our Discord, you can actually see that we have a crafters room in our Discord where all of our crafters in the DAG family start putting up their work for other people to look at and enjoy. And Rob's stuff has been up. He put up his tunic, and I will tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, you've never seen so much detail on a piece of clothing that you're only going to ever get to see the collar of.
Yeah.
Because it's the under tunic for his Jedi costume, and all it's really going to show is the collar. But he's done all this detail work on it, and it's like, that's great, Rob. And of course,
unless you're Obi-Wan, and then you're always throwing your robe off. So
yeah, that's true.
Well, so there's the under tunic, and then there's the over tunic. So you'll see the over tunic, but that is just the under tunic. It's just the collar. So we'll see what the rest looks like.
And Shaz, I like I said the other day, I saw you on Twitch. I tried to get there in time, but I did not. But Shaz is also a fellow Twitch content creator, and wow, I mean, your characters are always foundational to the story. I've noticed that. They're always like this. They're like the heart and the center of the story as it progresses, and they're always someone that becomes like a touchstone for everyone else to come back to when the other characters get stressed or they get out there or they get they start to really feel like they're lost or the story's turning on them. They always come back, and whatever character you're playing, it's always the same thing. They come back and they have a scene with you character and they get reset. So that's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all we really have tonight, folks. This has been an amazing few weeks, and it's been incredible. And like I said, Ross, you are welcome back any and absolutely any time, whether it be on the lab when they go on their own or be here at Dinner and a Game. You are absolutely welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right. And everyone, I'm going to go ahead and just send us out tonight. I don't think we're going to raid anyone. I think that might taint the purity of this moment for us. So we will go ahead and say good night to everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time on Dinner and a Game.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Night. Thank you.